Kymkralspace. I'm Kim Kral. I am reporting to you, not live, from my closet. Hi, everybody. Hi. It is Wednesday. I am all over the place. I'm so anxious right now. I don't know. It was a lot of people I've talked to are anxious. I don't know. There's just so much fucking going on, and then there's nothing going on, and then the rules, and then there's no rule. You know what I mean? Like, it's so funny. I feel like how I think most people felt when the world first shut down. Like everyone was like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do stuck at home?" And I was like, "Oh, I have so many things I'm going to do stuck at home, this podcast included." And now it's like some things are shut down, some things aren't. Some people are really judgy about people who aren't really, caring about COVID, not caring, but like still going out and living their lives. And then some people like, it's just all my anxiety is through the roof and I don't know what I am doing. I am, for the first time in my adult life, just like winging it money wise, like as in like not just working at like a bar or a sales job or something. And I'm just doing this stuff. And it's working out, but it's really fucking with my anxiety. And then there's also some things that are happening, I think last week or the week before. This is what I've also decided. I was like, every single week I don't know. I mean, I'll probably still not remember, but I think it's time to go through and listen to these episodes and like maybe see what I have. Because there's some stories. So I wrote the list that I said last week. I'm just going to go through the list today. We're just going to knock this list out. But I wrote the list. And in some of the stories, I'm like, I feel like I told that, but I'm going to just knock it out. But I think last week I talked about just like not outgrowing people, but I don't know. I feel like if something keeps happening in your life, this is going to be so fucking vague, but I feel like if something keeps happening in your life, like a lesson or an annoyance or something that gives you anxiety and it just keeps happening, I feel like there's a lesson there, right? And there are two people in my life who are very, very similar, as in like they are awesome when you want them to motivate you, when when they are aligned with themselves and they're aligned with themselves and doing well in their life and doing the shit they need to do to keep their side of the street clean. They are awesome. They are like the most motivating, amazing people. I call them but when they aren't feeling great in their lives, and I know that that's pretty common, we project and we get triggered and all that stuff, but these two people are especially passive aggressive, regular aggressive, and kind of shitty, and they're so alike. And when you're not behaving exactly, I don't know if this is relatable at all, but if you're not relating, or if you're not doing exactly what they think you should be doing, they're really mad at you, right? And so right now there's these two people in my life who mean quite a bit to me, and they're not doing their their self-care shit. So they're just like triggered and projecting and like and the last few conversations I've had with both of them have been like, they're sort of, I guess they fancy themselves in charge of me. Like how they like, well, why aren't you doing this? Well, you need to be doing this. All right, well, if you're not going to do that, I'm just not going to talk to you. And I'm so uncomfortable because old Kim would be like, oh, I'm a people pleaser. All right, I'll just do these things that I don't agree with you that I should be doing, but just so you won't leave me or get mad at me. And now I don't do that. I'm not going to like abandon myself or what I'm doing to make someone else happy. And it's pissing them off. And they're not, and I understand like the compassion, empathetic side of me knows that it has nothing to do with me. Like it's not personal. Like the like weird attacks and the weird text messages have nothing to do with me. But instead of reacting to them, I'm just like doing nothing. And I'm so anxious about it. And, these people are really important in my life, and we share many, many mutual friends. And so it's when you have an issue with someone that, I do my best not to gossip, and it's hard to like work out these problems when, it's someone in your crew, or someone important in your life where a lot of people know the same person. Cause I don't want to be like, well, I'm talking trash. You know what I mean? I don't know. So I'm having some severe anxiety about that. And I finally got my lung doctor appointment. I will find out if COVID damaged my lungs March 28th. Jesus Christ, right? But so I'm just anxious, and it's just I feel like this is I think that these two situations are so similar, and these two people don't know each other at all. Like they're not connected, but they're so similar that I feel like I am supposed to be learning something here. And I think the big one, the thing that I've been trying to learn or trying to implement, I guess, this whole time that I've been working on myself is not abandoning myself to make other people happy. To keep that unshakable sense of self. Like if you're mad at me, you're mad at me. You know, like my side is clean and I'm taking care of myself, taking care of business. Someone said that every time this is a fun tip. So I don't know. I like it. Someone that I know said that every time they are having anxiety about doing like the next step, right? You know, when you go after big dreams, it's really scary. That I think that's a lot of the big anxiety here too now is just that I'm going after my big dreams and I'm so fucking scared all the time. And I'm trying to like trick my brain because it's the same feeling. Excitement and fear is the same like gut feeling, right? You just know one is scary and one's excitement. So I'm trying to trick my brain into being like, we're really excited. Some cool shit's unfolding. But this person was like, every time I'm scared and I have to take the next step while I'm doing it, I play the song "Taking Care of Business," and it just like pumps them up. I don't know. I thought that was cute. So I don't know. I feel like I'm supposed to be learning something right now, and I think that's what it is just that unshakable sense of self that that is like my North Star. I think that's the right thing. The North Star. My basis where I want to be. Like I used to watch TV and like when people would get in arguments, like someone would get mad at another person and then they'd storm off and the other person would be like, all right, well, like you're not going to go after them and beg them to be your friend and just like abandon yourself and people please until that person doesn't leave you anymore. And now I'm finally in that point in my life where I'm like, yeah, if people walk away, they walk away. I'm pretty solid with what kind of person I am. And it's really, really weird and it feels really great, but it's really scary. So taking care of business every day. So I have this list, right? So my goal is to listen to all these episodes before the 100th episode. And the 100th episode is coming soon. So I kind of want to do something fun for it. And I can't think of anything. So if you are listening and an email person, please email me. Email me, kymkralspace@gmail.com. I got a poop scoop today, 2 stories actually. And from just the most lovely email. It was like one of those things, and I'll get to it later, but one of those emails that like, you read it right when you needed to hear that, right? Like right when you needed to hear, like, it's not all just fruitless, no fruit for Buffy. If you've watched Buffy, you know what I'm talking about. But you know what I mean? Like when you're like feeling like everything you're doing is just like that's how I feel right now. I literally just feel like, what the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? All the time. And it's really uncomfortable. And I just have to trust that I'm on the right track. Trust that I'm on the fucking right track. So for the 100th episode, if you can think of anything fun I should do that's special, please email me at kymkralspace@gmail.com. It's 111. Yeah, so I think before that, I'm going to try, I'm going to listen to all the old episodes and like write them out, not transcribe. I've gotten so many weird emails from people, like solicitations asking if I want them to transcribe all the podcasts. I'm like, God, how much would that cost? One, and what a bizarre. How many times would that person have to type out the word shart in transcribing my podcast? But I don't want to transcribe. I just want to type out notes of like, oh, this is the poop scoop. I told that type. Okay, whatever. And then I also want to send the episode to the people who sent me the poop scoop so they can hear the poop scoop if they missed it. Poop scoop. How many more times can I say that? So we got a lot of things going on right now. And I am just doing the next best thing. That is what I'm doing. And in terms of the 2 people that, I don't think they're mad at me. I think they're just going through their own thing and it's coming out at me, which is just like, all right, I don't know what else is like. And I'm so grateful because old Kim would have been like staring at her phone, definitely not here in the closet doing this because I'd be so preoccupied with hoping that these 2 people weren't mad at me. But instead, I'm just like, I checked, I have tools now where I'm able to look at my side of the street, and my side of the street is whistle clean as a whistle. Are whistles clean? I feel like they're dirty, right? Have we talked about this? Like, yeah, the mouth is on it. My cat is sitting, literally sitting, and just staring at the ground. I love him so much. So I talked about this list that I have on my phone that when something funny happens, I like write it down and put it in my phone, and then I try to come here and talk about it. And the list is like compiling. And so I've decided I'm just going to go through the list today and see how far we can get. And maybe next week we'll just do the next list because nothing really massive happened in the last couple of weeks or the last week. Well, kind of. Yesterday, I'm not allowed to talk about it. I signed an NDA, but I booked not a massive job, but kind of a big job that I'm hoping will lead to other jobs, and kind of an exciting job where you're like living your dreams. And it's so funny while I was there, because it was just such a like, everyone was treating me like I was like, I belonged there. And the voice in my head was like, oh my God, tell them you don't know what you're doing. Tell them you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Tell them you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And I had to just be like, you belong here. You have worked hard to be here. You belong here. And it was so funny because in my particular business, show business, as they call it, if you're doing a good job, they don't say anything. If you're sucking, they say something, right? Like there's not really a lot of like, great job, you're doing so good, you're doing so good. Positive reinforcement. And I was taught this early on, like if no one is saying anything, that means you're doing a good job. So don't be the insecure actor that's like constantly being like, how am I doing? Am I doing okay? Am I doing okay? So when this releases, I'll tell you all about it, and then we'll talk about it then. So like not really much has happened except for these, two humans that aren't liking my decisions, I guess. I don't know. I know it's not personal, but it's just like, all right. Oh my God, now Henry's just staring at me. You guys, I would die for this animal. I would die for this animal. He's staring at me in the creepiest way. All right, so let's go through this list and see how far we can get with things. The first one is girls who left, especially Jillian. Okay, so I was talking about Big Wang's. So you guys all know that I worked at Big Wang's for a long, long time. And this girl that was like, okay, so this girl that used to work there, not Jillian, I obviously said her name, but she worked there as I was going, like she quit as I was coming in, and she had like such a reputation. And I remember like not the best reputation. She was awesome though. Like, I don't know. She was like I had the reputation of I was a big bitch and I was really mean and like, don't fuck with me or I'll fuck with your shifts. You know what? Like I had that reputation. And then when people would actually get to know me, they're like, yeah, you just work hard. And I'm like, yeah. And that's exactly like Jillian. So I went over, she was working at a bar down the street, and I went there on my second break, like my second day at Big Wang's. And I went there. Oh my God, my first day at Big Wang's. I'll remind me to tell you about Monica. And I went over there and I had a drink, and she's like, oh, you're the new girl at Big Wang's. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, word of advice. And this is the best advice for like anything. And I didn't take it there for like 8 years, but she was like, just go do your work and go home. Don't get involved in the fucking drama. Don't get involved. Just do your work and go home. Make your money, go home, go after your dreams. I didn't do that. Do that. And I didn't do it for a long time too, which, I enjoyed the party and I enjoyed being part of the Big Wang's family and making lifelong friends. But like, the party is still going, and there's people that are still doing that exact same thing as they were 15 years ago. And that girl, I don't know how she left. I know she came in, they asked her, she tried to come back, I don't know, like 8 years later, maybe not, but years later, was like, I'll come back. And she came in her Big Wang's outfit, and she looked around and then I think she looked at me and this other broad and was like, yeah, I can't do this. And we were like, what? She's like, nope, tell Joe and PJ I don't work here anymore. I can't do this. And like walk the fuck out. And like, I get that. If I wouldn't be able to go back to Big Wang's. Like the PTSD at that place is fucking real, man. Like it's so like, everybody I know that worked there and then worked at another bar or restaurant afterwards was like, this was like the best training. My best friend's a nurse and like a hectic ER that's understaffed. And she's like, it's literally like Big Wang's, and Big Wang's trained me how to cause they would be like, here's the bar, all of the tables, which was like 40 tables or some shit. And they're like, and the manager is going to leave and you're not going to have a bar back or a busboy, and a party bus just showed up. Good luck. And if you get a bad Yelp review, we are going to blame you for it. Like we're going to get mad at you, even though we refuse to ever like staff correctly. Or if we do staff correctly, like we just don't give a fuck about you. Is that cool? Cool. And so like that place, like I remember one night I was waitressing at restaurant I bartended at after Big Wang's, and they asked me to waitress one night just to like help out. And it was like a Friday night. The place was packed, and I was in the office talking to the manager for like 15, 20 minutes. And he finally goes, don't you have tables? And I was like, yeah, my tables are fine. And I don't understand why all the other waitresses are running around with like chickens with their head cut off. I have bussed all the other tables. I have ran everyone's drinks and I have ran all the food. And my tables don't need anything. There's like 12 tables in there. I could have done the whole thing on my own. Instead, you have 5 people working. But it was just like the big wangs fucking education, man. Like it taught you, like one of my favorite, and it's like lessons in life. And I think I've talked about this before, but I was my first like big bartending shift. And it was St. Patrick's Day, a UFC fight. And there were 2 bartenders and that's it, and a bar back. And it was slammed. I mean, think of St. Patrick's Day, a UFC fight. It was like Saturday night too. It was like 3 times the lady, 3 triple threat. That doesn't make any sense. I'm trying to move my legs without unplugging my microphone because I do that and I get really mad. I have a new cord coming though. If you're listening to we have a new podcast on my Patreon exclusive podcast with Jeff May. He has been like, he keeps reminding me to get a new cord. New cord's coming tomorrow. I went to Best Buy and the guy like shamed me. He's like, this is almost obsolete. I was like, well, it's a brand new microphone, so it shouldn't be. And he's like, I don't know. I guess you can try Target. I was like, okay. I was like, I don't want to do this, but I'll go to Amazon, man. And not that Best Buy and Amazon are different, but so we're working, it's UFC night, Saturday night, St. Patrick's Day. And I'm working with this bartender, Brent. And he's like a seasoned bartender who just like, he just could not be bothered to run like a crazy person at all. Cause it was just like, I will wait. I will get to you when I get to you and you all will get drinks. And so it's him and I look up and it's 5 deep around the whole bar, right? So 5 people in every occupied space waiting for a drink. And the bar had like maybe like 25 seats. So you do the math. 250 people? That doesn't sound right. That sounds like way too many. Anyway, it was like as far as the eye could see, humans waiting for drinks. And it was just Brent and I was very new bartending. And I looked at him and I was like, I could really fucking freak out right now. And he said, just keep moving. That's it. Just keep moving. And you know what? That story right there, the Big Wings one, that actually is exactly what I needed to hear for myself today. How fucking freaked out I am about everything I'm doing and launching and trying to I'm trying to get this career moving. And in the middle of a pandemic where things are shutting down left and right, you just keep moving. Just keep moving. All right. I like that. Have I ever told you guys about the shiwi? If you don't know what a shiwi is, which you shouldn't, I don't think anyone should, unless you have one. It's you probably, the name is pretty self-explanatory. It's a funnel. Why am I acting like I'm using it now? If you're on YouTube, I just reached down to my vagina acting like I was holding the funnel. So it's basically a funnel that you put around your vagina that helps you pee standing up. So I saw it on Groupon, I don't know, like 10 years ago, saw it on Groupon and I was like, ha, that's funny. And then moved on. And then I could not stop thinking about the shiwi. Couldn't stop thinking about it. Like just couldn't and then it became like I was like, just go buy the shiwi. It was like $6.99 too for 2 of them. And and then I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it anywhere because I couldn't remember what it was called. I was like urine funnel, women's urine funnel. And I'm sure it would come up if you wrote that, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I was like, one of my biggest regrets of life is going to be I didn't buy these shiwis. And then I finally found them. And then I don't camp often. And when I do camp, it's like LA camping, right? There's always toilets places. So the only place I've ever used it is in my shower. Well, because I had to see if it worked. And it does. It does work. It does. So I have 2 of them and I don't know what to do with them, but I will never. It's like the Stadium Pal. Have you guys heard of this? It's like where you put basically an adhesive catheter on your junk. I think it's just for men. I don't know if there's one for women. I'm sure there's one for women. And then it like runs a tube down your pant leg to like a bag that you pee into. And it's a Stadium Pal, so you can just pee your pants while you're watching a big game or a concert. That I would like. That I never remember to look it up until the shiwi comes up, but I'm not near anything where I'm like, oh, note to self, look up the Stadium Pal to see if that exists or how much it is, or because how awesome would that be? And like I would have to test it out at home, like the shiwi. I would just have to like put the adhesive. I'm glad we're doing this list today. I'm really, really glad we're doing this list today. It's about to get weirder. So it says, I'm fucking doing it. And I think I wrote that in January, or not January, in November when I was getting jobs and nothing was shut down yet over COVID. But it is true. I am fucking doing it. It's just really scary and hard. But yes, that story, just keep moving. Just keep moving. And we did, and people got their drinks, and we made like $500 that night, which now working in other bars is like, well, we should have made more, but it was a Big Wangs crowd. So if you've ever been to Big Wangs, it's not, they're not the most expensive drinks, and 70% of the people tip below 10%. 30% of the people tip really, really well. You know who you are if you're old Big Wangs customers of mine, or just in general, you know who you are. But 70% was like, oh, $3 on 50. That's less than 10%. But so like we just, and that night was like the best lesson I could learn in bartending and in life. Like anytime I've worked at a bar now, people are like, are you okay? Like your bar is packed and you seem fine. It's like, well, yeah, you just keep moving and people will fucking wait. Like when I worked at the Korean nightclub one night, it was like a weeknight. So most of the weeknights you were just alone, and it was this massive bar, like the biggest bar I've ever worked at. And I mean, so big, it holds 6 bartenders comfortably on club nights, and 6 bartenders would be packed and busy, right? But on like a weeknight, it was like, yeah, you would barely, most of the time I would just clean the bar from top to bottom. It was so dead, right? But you had to work like one of those weeknights in order to work the 2 big club nights. And so one night, this fucking party bus showed up, and I didn't have a bar back. None of the servers knew how to wait or bartend. So it was just me at the bar for like, I'm going to say like 50 people all at once. And because of Big Wangs, I wasn't freaked out. And I walked down and one girl started yelling at me because I wasn't getting her drink. And I was like, cool, you just put yourself at the back of the line. She goes, well, I'm going to go find somebody else to make my drink. And I was like, ma'am, I'm letting you know I'm the only person in this building that knows how to make your drink. So I would either be nice to me or go somewhere else, because you just put yourself further in the back of the line. And she was like, and her friends were like, Sarah, stop talking to the bartender that way. And like, but it makes you realize that like there's nothing, like don't talk to people like that. I'm sure eventually I helped that girl. I think she ordered an Adios or something. I'm not shocked if that's most of the people in that bar ordered that, but yeah, so I'm fucking doing it, and you just keep fucking moving, dude. All right. So the next thing says, I'm just going to read it, and then it says, my COVID and how it's making me shart. Oh my God. My phone doesn't know the word shart. I'm deeply embarrassed by this. Well, that's pretty self-explanatory, right? I found out later, I don't have this anymore, but I found out later it wasn't the COVID that was making me shart. It was my inhaler of albuterol that was making me shart. My best friend's a nurse, like I said, and she and I were, her nephew, I believe, is on albuterol too. And she asked me, she's like, do you almost poop your pants or shart a lot? And I was like, is that what that's from? I thought it was the COVID. I've now gotten used to it, and I don't do that anymore. So if you are listening to this, don't think I'm just going around town sharting. I'm sure most of you probably think I am just going around town sharting, and I'm all right with that. But I love that I was more embarrassed that my phone still doesn't know how to autocorrect shart. It's like, I feel like I use the word shart enough. All right. The next one is Niambi getting fired. The wood ship guy. Oh yeah. Okay. This is just like 2 that I forgot about. I have something in my eye. I forgot about. So years ago, I worked at that bank, right? And my one of the managers I didn't get him fired, but I was a catalyst to help. But he was so sexist. Like he'd say the most sexist shit. One time we shook hands, and I can't remember why, because we had met before, but we shook hands, and he's like, you're a lady. You shouldn't have a firm handshake. And I was like, that's not, he's like, you need to have a dainty handshake. And he would say shit like that all the time, like this weird underhand, like microaggressions. I think that's what it's called, where it was just like, I need to be more dainty. And then I just remember the handshake, because like our boss was the like CEO, not the CEO, but the woman who was in charge of the whole branch. The LA branch of ING Direct was a fucking 6-foot woman who I promise you had a tough handshake. I was like, dude, if Kathy heard you talking to a woman this way, she would like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to keep having my handshake. He's like, well, no one's going to take you seriously or want to date you. It was some shit like that, like so fucking crazy. And so I finally went to my manager in charge and was just like, can I just not deal with him? Because he's so awful. Like one time something happened and he asked what my dad did. And I was like, oh, my dad owns a trucking company. And he was like, oh, there it is. Your dad's a truck driver. That's why you're the way you are. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck that means. And then I told my manager that I just didn't want to work with him anymore because he was just like really belittling and sexist all the time. And my manager was like, oh, that's awful. I'm so sorry, blah, 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 blah. And then like 4 months later, he got fired. And I was like, oh my, not 4 months, like pretty shortly after, like a couple weeks afterwards. I don't know why I said 4 months, but he got fired. And I was like, I went to my manager. I was like, I hope I didn't do that because he had like a kid and shit, which I know is like, I shouldn't like, it's like, well, you can't talk to people that way. You can't do that in the world. But my manager was like, oh, after you came forward, like 3 or 4 women came forward and talked about was like, oh, he's super fucking sexist. And then the wood shop guy, I think, so the next series of events all reminded me of the same thing. I think I was writing it down because when I was in junior high, my dad, who was kind of misogynistic himself, but it was like, I feel like my dad, like when it came to me, it was like, I can make fun of her being a woman, but you can't make fun of, like, you know, like I can call him my idiot brother, but you can't call him my idiot brother. Because my dad said sexist shit all the time, but he like worked hard to make sure I wasn't feminine, right? Like he makes sure, maybe that's what Niambi meant by me being raised by a truck driver. Fucking really? But he, you know, I mean, but so my dad was misogynistic, but like I had a wood shop teacher in junior high who was so misogynistic. I totally forgot about this until I started thinking about Niambi, I think. I went to, yeah, he like paired me up with, you know, we had like partners in woodshop class and my partner was some dude. And I remember just like everything was just so belittling. This story is not even really that interesting. I just remember telling my dad that my woodshop teacher told me basically to like sit down and let the men talk because this is woodshop and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And my dad went in and I'll just never forget that woodshop teacher's face, like look on his face. Cause he was just like, my dad was like a big, scary man, right? You guys have heard the stories. And he, you know, he came in and he was like, how dare you act like my daughter doesn't know what the fuck she's doing in woodshop class. Like, did you see this duck she built? Did you see this reindeer? I still have a reindeer I keep under my Christmas tree that I built in that woodshop class. I don't remember that guy's name, nor could I pick him out of a lineup. I think he looked like Dennis Hopper. Like when I picture him, I picture Dennis Hopper. Yeah, I picture Dennis Hopper, which is really funny because my dad and I watched Speed when I was a kid with Keanu Reeves, you know, Speed. And I wanted to be an actress. And my dad was like, Dennis Hopper comes on the stage on the screen. I don't know who Dennis Hopper is, nor should I have. I was in like 4th grade. Why in the fuck would I know who Dennis Hopper is? Right? He was like a 60-year-old man at that point, and maybe 50. I don't know, but he seemed ancient. And he comes on the screen, and my dad was like, "That's Dennis Hopper," and I was like, "Okay." And he goes, if you want to be an actor, you need to be exactly like Dennis Hopper. And you know, he died before I could ever really he died before I realized that was really fucking weird. So I could never be like, yo man, what was that about? But yeah, he was like, if you want to be like anybody, be like Dennis Hopper. I don't know anything about Dennis Hopper, but every time I see him, I think he passed a couple of years ago, but every time I see him, I think about my dad and how my dad was like, be like that guy. But I think that woodshop teacher looked like Dennis Hopper. And then that reminded me, so there was this kid, this is so sad. I cannot believe we're knocking out this list, guys. We're going to knock out this list before episode 100. And then I probably just start a new list. I'm sure we're just probably going to start a new list. So it reminded me there's this kid in junior high, and it's so sad because this kid got made fun of so much. And I wish I probably could look him up in the yearbooks to see if I like it's one of those kids, like, you know, when you look back in like high school and junior high, like the kids that got like pretty badly bullied, like we all got made fun of, right? Like I got made like that leads me to my next story. But we all got made fun of. We all got bullied on some level, but some kids got like really, really bullied. And you wonder like now as an adult when you can like process like my God, like something must have been really going on in that home. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I played dolls and wet my pants until I was like in 8th grade because I was being sexually abused. You know what I mean? So it's like obviously like these things that are like kind of not normal or of the norm and like development. Like, obviously something's going on. So this kid used to get bullied so bad. He used to hold, I'm going to try and describe this. He would hold the middle of his t-shirt out. Like, you know, when you're trying to pretend, when little girls pretend they have boobs and they pull out both, if you're on YouTube, you can see they pull out both like the shirt to make it look like they have boobs. Well, he would do it with his stomach. He would just pull it out. And he wasn't like he wasn't like that skinny kid, but he wasn't like a big kid either. He was just like a kid. And he would hold it out and like people, and his t-shirts had like a pinch mark from like a permanent pinch mark. And kids would try to like hand him shit to get him to like let go of this t-shirt. And he would like literally be holding everything in one arm to like, I'm going to look up what that kid's name is. I hope he's successful in life. Every time I look up somebody from high school that I thought about for a long time and can't find them on the internet, they end up being, I don't know why I'm laughing. I'll tell you why I'm laughing in a minute, but they end up dead. Like the Brandon Sheets who died like 2 years ago. Like, so maybe I don't want to know what happened to this kid. The reason why I'm laughing is the other day I was at my buddy Whitney's house and we were with our 2 friends, Matt and Evan. And I was telling some story and Evan goes, do you know like 60% of your stories are nostalgically talking about how you bullied some kid that end with you go, they could be dead. And like, I was like, oh my God, I was like crying when he said that because Whitney and Matt were like, yeah, that's true. You always have some story about how you were mean to some kid. And then you end it with some like, and you look nostalgic over it. And then you were like, I bet he's dead. I'm not a bully. I had a bad childhood. I don't know, but it was just really funny how he put it. And then I cried. I laughed so hard. Yeah, man, it's so wild. It's just so wild looking back on those. There was a girl in high school and she went to our junior high and high school. And she had like a weird rash around her face and neck and always had her hair was like super greasy and super pulled back and all the time, like her hair was never touching her face. And people, that brings, a lot of attention and negative attention because kids are shitty. And she told me once, she kind of bullied me because like I tried to be friends with her and another girl who were pretty nerdy, and they were like the ones that got like picked on a lot, right? And I always tried to be nice to people that were like overtly picked on. Just I have no idea why, but I wasn't all bad. I wasn't an all bad kid, but I tried to be nice to them, and they told me that they didn't have it as bad because like a lot of people talked a lot of shit about me and they didn't like me in high school. And I was like, oh, maybe that's why no one wants to be your friend. Why would you just say that to someone? Dicks. But one of them told me the girl had like I don't know if it was a scar or a rash or what was going on, but she told me that it was because she was allergic to her hair. And if her hair touched her body, she would break out into hives. Now I went 20 years believing that. I'm going to say 15 years, I'll say. 20 kind of ages me, and that's not, but no, I would say 20 years believing this woman. And I'm not old, so I'm not feeling aged, but 20 years, I believe this woman was like, this kid was allergic to her hair. And I felt so bad for her. And I always wondered why she didn't just cut her hair short in order to avoid that, or get like a synthetic wig or something that like wasn't like hair material. You know what I'm trying to say? I for 20 years, I believed this woman, and I, confidently would tell people that I knew someone who was allergic to their hair. And most people take, what you say, at your word. And God bless those people. And, we all hate those people that feel the need to challenge every little thing that someone says. Well, I don't think that's true. Those people suck. But sometimes those people are, so someone challenged me and I was like, I don't fucking know. That's just what the girl told me. I didn't look into it. And then this person, I can't remember who told me this, but was like, yeah, that's not possible. And then I Googled it and it was not possible. So this bitch just had a creative reason why her face was always bright red. I mean, why wouldn't you just tell the real reason? And now I want to know what the real reason is. Maybe I'll just have a fun day of looking through my yearbook and go through all the people on Facebook to see if they're still alive. And there was one girl named Tara who was, she was like 6'2" and a very, very large. and so sweet. And like, I'm almost 6 feet. And thank God I wasn't that in high school. Like being that tall of a woman in high school and then not being popular and heavy to boot, like kids were ruthless to her. And she was so sweet, so sweet. My friend Aspen and I talk about Aspen a lot. Aspen and I were weirdos. We became friends with all the weirdos because it was like we got a band together, but we used to, I've tried to look this woman up a billion times, just wondering. I hope she just ended up okay. I don't know why this is the weird bullying episode of all the kids that got bullied. So the next one, it says, okay, so these two kids last 3 years ago, this was like the first like viral tweet. I don't think I tweeted. No, not viral, but most attention tweet and Facebook post I had gotten to date. It was two kids that used to call me in high school just got arrested for robbing a grocery store. What a time to be alive. It took 20 years, but I think it's safe to say I finally won. And so these two kids called me ugly in high school. One kid told this girl that he liked me in junior high. He had this big crush on me. And then he was like super popular. And I was like, oh my God, that guy, right? I'm missing half my teeth. Like, I'm like, I was not a looker in 7th grade. Missing half my teeth. And like, I'm like, he thinks I'm cute. And she's like, yeah. And so she got my hopes up for like a week and a half telling me how cute he thought I was. And then one day she's like, I was like, oh, so is he ever going to talk to me or something like that? And she goes, no, I asked him yesterday how he felt. And he said, never mind. I saw her face and she's really ugly. And I was like, oh, I was crushed. I think that was the first time anyone really just called me ugly. Like in elementary school, maybe here and there, but no one ever was like, she's ugly. And I was crushed. And then that guy and his friend were super popular, like football player popular in high school. And they never let up on being dicks to me, right? Just always, just letting people know how ugly they thought I was. Joke's on them. I am not ugly anymore. I don't think I was ugly then either. It's just such a shitty thing to say to someone. No one's ugly. I digress. But it was so funny when I posted that. I mean, it got like 600-700 likes or some shit like that. And it was all the comments it was split in 3 ways. 1/3 people laughing really hard because it's a funny thing. They robbed a grocery store. I'm still friends with one of them on Facebook, and he just got out of prison. And it is kind of sad because he's really excited to be around his family again. And it's just like, well, maybe don't rob a grocery store, dude. Especially when you're like a kid. Like, again, I don't know what people's childhoods are like. I feel like people who had really shitty, sketchy childhoods go into junior high and go into school either really popular or really not. I don't think there's an in between, right? If you're really bullied, you probably have a really shitty home life. If you come to school, because popular kids are kind of mean kids, right? So, and you learn that behavior from home. So I don't know what this guy's home life is like and why he ended up robbing a grocery store. I'm a comedian, so I made a joke about the grocery store. I haven't been pining over these guys calling me ugly for 20 years, although in this moment, it sort of sounds like I have. But so, and then 1/3 was people like scolding me that went to our school and was like, how dare you make light of this? They have children. They have drug problems. You're disgusting. I lost a bunch of like high school friends that I wasn't friends with to begin with. A lot of people became friends with me on Facebook that I went to high school with when I was in Dating in the Dark, the dating show like 10 years ago. And because it's like, oh, the girl from high school's on TV. And so like all of them, I'm like, we weren't friends in high school. We're not friends now. So whatever. But then the other third were people that these two kids also bullied. And they were like, thank you for saying something. These kids were awful. And it's finally glad they got theirs. Oh my God. I just looked at myself in the Zoom and I look, sometimes I get really animated and my ponytail flattens out. And then I get really insecure that I look like Sid from Toy Story. Which I know I don't. I mean, think about it though. Just think about like picture me with really short hair and braces. If, by the way, Sid from Toy Story wasn't really that evil. It's not like that kid knew that the toys came to life. You know what I mean? Like who didn't like light a Barbie leg on fire here and there? Like I'm sure if they were like, yo, Sid, those toys are real, he'd probably be like, what? So like the fact that like, I don't know, I stand by that. But yeah, a third of the people were like kids from high school that were like, yeah, we fucking got bullied by them too. They were dicks and we're glad that they got theirs or whatever. It's so crazy, man. I just feel like I don't know. There was these 3 kids in my junior high. Oh man. So my dad would buy the most expensive golf balls and himself a bottle of scotch like 3 times a week. But he wouldn't buy his growing, lengthy daughter pants that fit correctly because they were more than $25. And so I would have to go to school with either high waters or like pants that look like I shit my pants. Now, it was the 90s. So high waters, it was more baggy pants were more in than high waters. Now I kind of wear high waters just because like they're not, not high waters. That term comes from if there's water, you're walking through water in your pants. I believe that's where it comes from. And so he would, and like I get, like I would get it if we were not well off, and like I would get it because like I was a growing kid, but like really, man, you couldn't have just like not gotten Titleist golf balls for a week and gotten your kid fucking pants that fit. So anyway, there's these 3 kids in my junior high. What are their names? Neil, Cress. I gotta look these fucking people up, and Phil. And they used to bully the fuck out of me. They used to call me Drop Zone because the thought process behind it was that if I jumped off of a building, my pants were so big that they would be parachutes. In fact, my 8th grade yearbook, these 3 boys asked if they could sign it, and I wanted them to like me. And the whole back of the yearbook is just Drop Zone. They even drew a little picture of me jumping off a building in my pants. One time we were in French class, and they tied my shoes to the desk while I wasn't paying attention. And I got up and I fell face first. Oh, they were so mean. The kicker is, the really funny thing is I know Neil had I don't think he had a crush on me, but it didn't start off with him bullying me, right? It started off with like a friendship, and Cress and I used to talk on the phone, like that guy. And then Phil, I don't know, that guy was a dick, but like, I feel like it was just 3 boys that wanted to be accepted. So they just like bullied one kid. And it's just so funny. Like, I mean, I don't know. I know there's people that still hold on to shit that happened in high school, but it's just like, we all were bullied, man. Oh man. I remember hitting the floor with my, falling on the ground with my shoelaces tied to the desk. It's so mean. It's so unnecessary mean. I was just trying to learn French. But it's just, I don't know. So I think, okay, let's see here. But then it was really fun. I went to college, and I went to college, and because halfway through high school, I started to get cute. But like the damage had been done, man. Like I was already a big weirdo, and just a big weirdo. But but I had gotten cute, and I remember. So I went to college, and so I was like cute, And the 2 hottest dudes on our dorm room floor liked me. One of them ended up being my first love, and we had this on and off again thing for like 10 years. But I remember when they both liked me, I was just like, oh, what? Like, oh, like I don't even know. I don't even know what, just so funny. Cause especially like I later became friends with this girl in high school who was very pretty. She was a couple years younger than me, which is not a big deal now. But, in high school, you're a senior and you're friends with a sophomore, and that's like your only friend. I mean, I had lost a bunch of my friends just because we had that older friend that I've talked about before, Brandy, who wrote that weird, remember the cutout letters that she wrote? She I don't even know if this episode is making any sense. I did not mean for it to go into this whole high school bully thing. It does make you think about the kids, though, that, I don't know. And if you were bullied in high school and you're still holding on to it, I don't know, man. I feel like the 2 kids that called me ugly that went to jail for robbing a grocery store, I heard they had also a drug problem. Like, you taught that, man, So it's like I talk about generational dysfunction and cycles all the time. And so I don't know. I hope you're able to work through that, because I laugh about it now. I mean, yeah, super humiliating. Like, I remember Brandy, who cut out the letters of a magazine to like write me a threatening note. Like, I don't know if I told you guys this. I found the note, like, I don't know, like in the middle of quarantine while I was trying, cleaning up shit. And it was like, you're in for a treat, Kim. Happy Halloween. And then years later, Aspen and Julie, who were, stayed friends with her when I stopped being friends with her, they were like, she actually did that? we were all sitting around and Brandy was like, we should fuck with Kim somehow. Which why? I stopped being your friend. You guys are off living your life. I only have the one friend now. Like, go live your lives, leave me alone. And she was like, yeah, we should cut out a magazine and like write her a scary note. And Julie and Aspen went, they were like, yeah, we like laughed about it and then never thought about it again. Like, she actually did that. I was like, yeah, it was really confusing. I got it taped to my door. My dad was like, what is this? And I was like, I don't know. And then we looked at it and then we both were like, I mean, it wasn't even scary. It was bizarre. A treat could be a million things. Like, are you in for a treat? Like, you're actually going to give me something nice, or you're in for a treat like we're going to beat you up. Either way, it was just super fucking bizarre. But I stopped being friends with them because that girl was just a lot. Oh God, I'm sure she's a lot. I think I'm still friends with her on Facebook. I don't know. Maybe I think she's a Trumper, so she might have actually since unfriended me. A big chunk of that group unfriended me actually in the quarantine. So I talked about it last week, I think. So if you want to hear the episode where the one that really meant a lot to me, Naked Checkers, was a really popular episode. It's like a ode to your best friend in elementary school. But like, yeah, I had like the one friend, and it's just so funny how, you know, you like, I remember in college I would watch, or maybe in my 20s, not recently, I haven't watched Maury in years, but you'd watch like Jerry Springer or Maury or whatever and like daytime TV, and you would see these people that were like holding on to their high school bully and like what they did to them. And then the high school bully comes out and he clearly lives in his parents' basement delivering pizzas and peaked in high school. And it's like, wait, what are you mad about? Who are you? And it's just like, I don't know. If you're still one of the people that are holding on to your bully in high school, let it go, man. More than likely they had a bunch going on. But make a tweet if it's funny and you're a comedian. That's what I did. And then a lot of people unfriended me. Some people DM'd me and they were like, wow, we thought you were such a sweet girl. And then you made that tweet. I'm like, I'm a comedian. And 2 kids that called me ugly in high school went to prison for robbing grocery stores. Grocery stores. I'm all fucking. All right. That's like half of the list. So we'll see what happens next week. Because I want to get to this poop scoop. I think I've told you why I'm one lucky broad. God, I'm glad I did this list because I really did need to hear that. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. As you can tell, I usually repeat something that's about to be the title of this episode. Just keep moving. And, you know, as always, thank you for listening to me in here. Going through these fun, weird stories has made my anxiety less this week because, I'm just really uncomfortable. I'm just uncomfortable. Not everyone. I saw this like this quote that was just like, settle down or calm down or don't worry about it. Everyone's someone's bad guy, or everyone is someone's bad. Everyone's a bad guy in someone's story. And there's a couple. There's there's one woman that I know I will always be a bad guy in her story. No matter what, like it's been 15 years and I will always be a bad guy in this human story. And I just have to let that go. And as long as with these 2 people that aren't happy with me right now, there's some weird tension. My side of the street's clean. So the best thing I can do is just sort of let it go. And that's kind of what I did with, a lot of my family. And look how that turned out at that episode last week, where a lot of people have, come forward and said a lot of really awesome things to me about, one cousin told me that, everything she's going through right now, she was like, you've gone through this and more, but like alone. And she was just like, I'm so sorry. And it's really validating when people, come around, but they can't, and maybe I'm wrong in some way. More will be revealed. But right now I feel like my side of the street's clean and I'm just going to keep fucking moving. So I'm going to read the poop scoop. Oh, the one lucky broad. I think that's it. I'm one lucky broad. I'm one lucky broad. I have this outlet and I have things are happening, yesterday was like a dream day for me. I signed a book and I put it in the mail. I'm going to sign another one today. If you haven't yet, please buy my book, Confessions of a Recovering Party Girl. I'm working on a second edition and I'm hoping I have some big plans for it. And I'm terrified of it. I cry every day. But before that happens, get the first edition. You can get it on Amazon or you can get it at kymkral.com and I'll sign it for you. You'll get a bookmark that I'm weirdly proud of. It says, you've either pooped your pants as an adult or your time is coming. Stay awkward and awesome. And then it's got a picture of me cheersing you. I'm weirdly proud of it. But yeah, so I like woke up in the morning and I posted my Patreon exclusive podcast that comes out once a month with Jeff May. If you're not a Patreon subscriber yet, I would love it if you'd be able to. You can do it for $3 a month and get access to 2 extra episodes a month. One is called My Sexual Revolution 2022. That'll come out every 15th of the month. So there's only been one, but there will be another one in a couple of weeks. And I've already got a bunch of fun stuff I'm going to tell you about. And then, we have a podcast comes out the first of every month with Jeff May. And if you don't know who he is, he's really funny. He's got a bunch of podcasts, dude, bunch of them, like something about we don't like sports. They watch Batman, and Jeff has cool friends. I just butchered all of those names. Sorry, Jeff, if you're listening, I'll do better next time. But yeah, follow him too. Follow him and look at but every month we've been friends for almost 10 years, and we've been on a bunch of podcasts together, a bunch of shows, and people are always like, you two should have a podcast. You guys have a great banter. So finally we were like, fine, we'll just do one Patreon exclusive. So I released that one yesterday for the month of February for our January review. And then I mailed a book that I'd signed, and then I had to send in an audition, and then I went into work my dream job for an afternoon. And it was just such a cool, like, I'm one lucky broad that things are starting to happen, even though I'm really, really scared. I'm so scared. And these fucking people who are like, I don't know. I feel like I have a friend who always says that anytime someone's kind of like, look at it as a video game, and this person who's trying to like derail and bring drama into my life, look at it as like a obstacle in the video game. Like, how to beat the video game is just by not engaging with this this person who's trying to bring crazy into your life. But I'm one lucky broad that yesterday I got to live a dream day of mine, and I hope I get to live many, many more of those. So if you're not a Patreon person, I would really love it. If you are, I really, really appreciate it. Go to kymkral.com, and then there's something you can go to Patreon, or you can just go to patreon.com/kymkral. So I'm going to do the poop scoop now. So I read the first couple paragraphs of this because it was from this guy named Trevor, who is a listener, and he said I could use his name. Just so you know, if you don't want me to use your name, you can just tell me not to use your name. But he said, use my name. It doesn't matter. But I read the first two chapters, paragraphs, just because it wasn't the poop scoop. But then I haven't read the actual poop scoop yet because I want you to hear me react in real time. I don't know if you guys care about that, but I like to react in real time. But Trevor, thank you. Your email, guys, when you send me emails, and especially if they have poop scoops attached to them, but if you send me any kind of email, just know that they come like exactly when I need them to come. Because Trevor, dude, when you sent this to me the other day, I was having one of my like breakdowns of like, what the fuck am I doing? And I read your kind words, and I was like, just keep moving. So thanks, dude. So here we go. It starts off with, finally, to the juicy stuff. I have 2 stories for you. First one is mine. The other happened at a bar I worked at. On my birthday many years ago, my girlfriend took me golfing, and after having a few drinks on the course while I was playing, I felt I had to fart. That always starts there. It always fucking starts there. And while I was away from the cart, I decided to let it go, and that's when I realized it's more than a fart. So luckily, I managed to stop from completely filling my undies, but not enough to not leave that squishy feeling afterwards. Sorry, that's too. If that's TMI, it's not, dude. You've listened to the podcast, of course it's not. And we all know the squishy feeling where you're like, oh no. So I finished the round and went home. Oh, you finished the round and went home and took a nap because I had to work that night. So I got up, showered, went to work, and came home that night and was talking to my girlfriend. And she said, I think you sat in something. I don't know why I'm doing an imitation of your girlfriend. I think you sat in something in the golf cart because there's a stain on your shorts. Oh no, you didn't look when you took off your underwear? You weren't like, every time you shart, you got to make sure you got to see how many layers the shart went through. Cause sometimes it's a powerful shart and it's not just a little skid mark. It's like a shart. I told her, I'm pretty sure I sharted. Oh, good for you for telling her the truth. I'm pretty sure I told her, I'm pretty sure I sharted while I was playing golf, and that's where the stain was. Then she started gagging and yelling because she apparently had touched it and smelled it while trying to figure out what the stain was from. All right, that's on your girlfriend. If there's something in the butt area of anyone's pants that is not like bright pink or something. You know what I mean? And bright pink could even be blood. So like if there's anything in the crotch of someone's pants or underwear, that's on you if you're like picking at it and smelling it. Like what the fuck else would it be, girlfriend? No offense to your girlfriend. I'm sure she's lovely. But it's sort of on her for trying to figure out what it was. Obviously it's poop. Obviously. Like I don't understand, why can't we all just accept that we've all pooped our pants, or your time's coming. All right. The second one was from the bar I was managing. This dude was sitting at the bar and had been there a while. This is a bar at a restaurant, not like a real bar. And after a couple of hours of this dude drinking, I can't read, you guys know that. And after a couple of hours of this dude drinking, a rather attractive girl comes and sits a couple seats down from him and orders a drink. Then they start talking for a bit, and the guy excuses himself and goes to the bathroom and comes back several minutes later and sits back down and continues on talking to the girl for about 10 minutes. And then she leaves and he leaves shortly thereafter. Then I go into the bathroom, and one of the stalls was a pair of shitty underwear with a huge wad of toilet paper and a gigantic mess in the toilet. They were the only people in the building at the time, since it was close to closing. So that dude shit himself at the bar, ditched his drawers in the bathroom and cleaned himself up, then proceeded to sit back down and try to hook up with some chick. I never saw that guy there again. Oh my God. That's so, I can't believe he didn't like try and hide it. Anytime I've had to put a pair of underwear, like shardy underwear in a trash can at a bar, I put him like at the bottom of the trash can, right? Like, why would he just like, he's like, whatever. I mean, I guess he probably didn't have a lot of shame. And like, did he hook up with the girl? No, she leaves and then he left shortly thereafter. Wow. Thank you, Trevor. That's all I have for now. Maybe I'll think of another story. Thanks for the hours of entertainment and sharing of yourself for all to enjoy. That's so nice. Sorry, this is so long. It wasn't that long. I really loved it. Thank you so much. Thank you. And if you have a story you'd like to send it to kymkralspace@gmail.com, kymspace@gmail.com. I think that's the show, guys. I think that's it. Thank you. Thank you. You all know where to follow me, KYMKRAL. I just thank you so much every week. Every time I see the downloads, I still cannot believe people are listening to me just ramble about nothing. I know I'm not rambling about nothing, but like, it's just like every episode I'm like, is this the one where people are going to stop listening? Is this the one? Is this the one? And I'm going to take my own advice again and just keep moving. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I hope everyone is staying safe, being kind, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.